Hey, Peter Brett, I did it. I got all the boss weapon special attacks. And I got that angry snowman armor by playing Jingle Bells on all the weird skeleton torches. I got that armor set covered in candles that suspiciously looks like that armor from Dark Souls. We all know our boy Havel. And I even got the Inferno armor by beating that overpowered Sir Spams a lot. Jesus. That sumbitch General Engstrom. What do you mean you don't care? What do you mean what am I gonna do now?
What do now?
Well, hell, I don't know. Maybe I'll fucking go play Elden Ring or something. Oh, well, hello there. It's me, Nobody. And today we're gonna talk about how good Lords of the Fallen is. And how bad it is. Maybe it'll even become a little review and a prediction of what's to come, if anything comes at all. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Lords of the Fallen. Where do I begin, Peter? It's such a long list. If I mess this up, maybe I'll have to start over like I do the Kukujin quest every time. I forget to pay her rent money and she ends up challenging me in Upper Calrith. But at least I get her sword and shield. But I never liked murdering that poor Kukujin. She's my lady. Well, I mean, she's a good friend, Peter Bread. You're my lady. And you'll always be my boo thing. What do you mean I'm a shitteed? Well, what the fuck's a shitteed? I'm not a shithead, Peter. We're gonna have to talk about this later. Oh, I know. Let's start at the beginning. Back when all the trailers started to pop up for this game. Well, that's pretty much it for the intro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Or don't, because you know people are gonna do what they're gonna do. But thank you for watching. Let's go talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And figure out what to do next.
What do now?
Since we pretty much did everything. Right, Peter? She says right. And to subscribe. Okay, bye! Back when the trailers for this game started to flow in from every direction, everybody took notice at the dark tone and all the Souls-like features. But more importantly, the combat. It looked like a great substitute to take a break from the Elden Ring. And while information started to leak that there would be cross-play for co-op and PvP, let's just say the expectations for this game was high from the start. And on that glorious day of October 13th, 2023, everybody got to experience it firsthand. Wait, I probably should have mentioned that a clever plan was put into place. They gave the bigger YouTubers early access to this game, so we could all see how awesome it was from their point of view. While they was doing their playthroughs and we got to see them beating all the bosses, we was stuck waiting for the opportunity to play. It's kinda like these content creators were working with the developers all along to get as many people as possible to buy the game. And of course we did. We took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. We gobbled that shit up like burritos, cause burritos are good. So as people started up their own games that they paid full price for, they immediately started noticing a few issues. From frame drops to corrupted save files, and the biggest issue for most people was the horrible connection and rubber banding in co-op and PvP.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
When I first started playing all the way up until I finally completed my first playthrough, I couldn't play more than 2 hours at a time because of how tedious it was to progress. In fact, I didn't really start to have fun until I created a new character because I kinda messed up and killed the Light Reaper early, which destroys any kind of hope of getting the special attack, and also locks you out of Kukujin's quest, and prevents you from completing Issac's full quest to get the Vengeful Reflections achievement.
What the?
Stormin? What the fuck is this? He froze. What? Why did he freeze? Mr. Saint? Are you okay, bud? Do you need me to call an ambulance? Stormin. What the hell? I kinda shot him while he was running toward me. And he just kinda froze here. Yeah, this is weird. Developers, another thing to fix. If you watch this video. I'll let you get on that. Okay. I know I'm saying a lot of negative things at the moment, but the game is actually really lots of fun if you know what you're doing and you're at a higher level. If you're around 130 and actually know where to go and what to do, you can just plow through bosses and enemies. And in my opinion, the game is way much more satisfying in the second run. But we'll get to that in a moment, as well as all the newly added content that was just released, like the Angry Snowman, Havel from Dark Souls, and Sir Spams-a-Lot. I really don't like you, Sir Spams-a-Lot, but I figured a way to beat him really easy, so he's not so bad anymore. Are you, buddy? He's actually a big softy, once you put that souffle on his ass. But anyways, for a long time there, we would get patch after patch after patch after patch. And it seemed like the developers wasn't listening to the fans at all, and was focusing on all the wrong things. Like that sumbitch Red Reaper.
Hey!
Apparently they didn't like that we were coming up with so many clever ways to cheese that sumbitch. To farm scourgings and just a little bit of vigor. They buffed that red sumbitch into a godlike killing machine. In later parts of the game, that sumbitch has turned into the Terminator. If for that any reason whatsoever he could not reach you, a pair of blades would sprout up from the ground and poke you right up in the no-no parts. And it stopped at nothing until it clapped those cheeks. It's not that the Reaper was impossible to beat. He's actually a lot of fun once you learn his movesets. People were starting to get upset and mad because they kept taking away the only reliable farm players had in an already broken game.
Y'all made a mistake. A real bad one. Hope you're happy.
And with nothing important getting fixed, only a few months after the game released, the player base dropped to a dangerously low level. From what I understand, Dark Souls 2 player base was higher than Lords of the Fallen at that time. Okay. That's most of the negative stuff. Let's talk about some good stuff. The past couple of months have been good for the game. Nope, we're not included in the way of the bucket. That quest was shite. But the developers did start actually trying to fix the connection issues with co-op and PvP. And the new weapon abilities seemed to breathe a little life back into the game that was very much needed. Even though they gave us no clue whatsoever on how to unlock these special abilities, it was still lots of fun. Some people didn't enjoy the hunt, while others really liked figuring out the solutions to get the special attacks from their favorite weapons. It was all a little bit tedious in my opinion, because when the patch dropped, if you were on your current playthrough and you've already completed the steps needed to unlock the special attacks, you would not be able to unlock the special attack for that weapon until you completed an entirely new playthrough on New Game Plus or New Game Plus Zero, which of course a lot of people did not like. Now that I think of it, most of the new content required a completely new playthrough. It's almost as if the developers are conditioning us to enjoy running through the game over and over again. We are being brainwashed, my dudes. And it's starting to work. People are getting used to going into a new game and running through as fast as possible to unlock whatever they need to unlock.
Do you have any idea how fast I am? I'm fast as fuck, boy!
And with the newly added quest, Herald of the Maw, Illuminator Aubrey, and General Engstroms, aka Angry Snowman, Havel from Dark Souls, and Sir Spams-a-Lot, it has made the game fun and exciting to discover all the new things. But after we all gobbled that up, we have once again run out of things to do. Now I don't expect the developers to do this forever, and we all know they're going to move on eventually. This is just a truly great game that has a lot of flaws, that if was perfected before its release, could have been one of the greatest games ever made. If the PvP and co-op was flawless, and the game had no frame drops and corrupted save files, and all this newly added stuff was already in the game to begin with, I have no doubts it could have competed for Game of the Year, and maybe even won. To me, it seems like the developers knew it was broken from the start and prepared this little DLC roadmap to keep people playing for as long as possible. And I don't blame the developers one bit. I blame those dirty producers for wanting to cash in and not giving the developers any more time to complete the game before release. Whew, I ran out of breath there.
Stop!
Been waiting for an hour now. This is bullshit. Yep, this is bullshit. Look at PETA in the background, being sarcastic with the way she flicks that blade. Yep, that's PETA for you. PETA brat, go make me a sandwich. Or something. But now, my dudes and dudettes, it's time for the ugly. We did the bad, we did the good, time for the ugly. The great Miyazaki has years of experience perfecting his games. And with the Souls series and the very successful Elden Ring, any game that comes out that looks like it could even come close to these great games will always have high expectations as we wait patiently and impatiently for Shadow of the Erdtree. So when most found out Lords of the Fallen is a lot different from the Souls games, they immediately labeled it as a bad game. Yes, they try to copy the magic that Elden Ring had, but what people don't get and what people can't see is that Lords of the Fallen might be Souls-like, but it is in fact its own game. Of course it's going to be different, with its own style, its own mechanics, and its own themes. Let's pretend for a second that Elden Ring and Dark Souls didn't exist. Such a truly sad thought, and a very dark existence in our little world. But if it didn't exist, and Lords of the Fallen released just as it is today, a lot more people would agree that this is a really good game for what we have. Now, as far for the future of this game, unless they keep adding on to it, I'm pretty sure that it's pretty much played out. Or, it is for me. For this game to last for years in the future, the PvP has to be flawless. Enough to keep people engaged and keep them creating new builds to play against others. But for that to happen, there has to be level scaling. So over-leveled players cannot invade lower-level players and vice versa. That Eclipse Sun looks suspiciously like Dark Souls 3. They had an Eclipse Sun as well. If you're wondering if you should play this game, I highly recommend it for the PvE. But if PvP is your thing, I would suggest sticking with Elden Ring. This game's PvP has to be fixed. This game is beautiful. It has beautiful sights, scenery, the bosses look really cool, but the mechanics are just kinda weird. The lock-on system is terrible, no matter which one you choose, because yes, there is multiple. But after it's all said and done, I really love this game. But now that I'm only a few achievements away from actually completing all of the achievements, I'm stuck here just asking myself, what do I do now? After it's all completed, I really don't have the urge to go through another playthrough. So unless they actually add new content or actually fix the PvP, I don't know how much longer I'll be playing this game. And I assume that's why so many people left like they did. There's a huge drop in the player base, because they played once through the game and that was enough for them. They went back to Lies of P or Elden Ring or to new adventures and new games. I really had high hopes for the PvP in this game when I first bought it. I even bought an Xbox Series X just to play this game, to have something different from Elden Ring. Just to be disappointed when I finally figured out that PvP was dogshite. If you didn't have overpowered players invading your world and one-shotting you, you had very rubber bandy PvP where you would get sucked into the host's attacks and just obliterated. If they fixed all that and players came back, I have no doubts this game could survive. But those are my thoughts on the game. If we have anything new coming up, it would most likely be quests and new armor and stuff. For however long the developers can keep this up, I don't know. But I will keep completing and playing their little game until they stop.
Attend me, surgeon. I seek a hole for my skull.
You okay, bro? Do I need to call somebody to help you out? Maybe a therapist or some shit? What'd you do to my boy? Mama, it's Diablo. Okay, now I know I've been saying a lot of bad things about this game, but the developers really have something here. If they just fix this and that, I believe it could be really great. And the more they learn, I'm really super excited to see what they do next. This game has been a big learning experience for them. Next time they'll know what to do and what not to do, and I guarantee you it will be great. Although, there will still be a few kinks here and there. But if they keep up this formula and keep working at it, and fix the connection issues with PvP and co-op, I have no doubts that next time they might even be considered into the Game Awards. With all of its issues, I really wish they would do the quest differently. As of now, you'd have to play through multiple times to complete each quest. Basically 3 full playthroughs, maybe. If they didn't tie quest lines into boss fights, there would be no need to choose which one to do, and you could complete all the quests within one playthrough. But since they do have quests tied into boss fights, you have to either choose one or the other. Like to get the Vengeful Reflection achievement, you have to basically fail Kukujin's quest. And if you want the boss special attacks, you're gonna have to fail most of them, because apparently they want you to summon Stormin for most of the boss fights. Along with summoning the Tortured Prisoner for the Sacred Monarch boss fight. What else? They really need to make their shortcuts more useful. Every time I find a shortcut, it's really no use at all. I mean, unless they're counting on no vestiges. If there's no vestiges, then I can see them being useful for backtracking. But who on earth wants to play a game with no vestiges? No vestiges makes it even more tedious than it already is. But I really do think they have something here if they just iron out the kinks. And even though they're pretty much all burnt out now, I assume they're not going to be making too much more content for this game. I mean, I could be wrong. They could do it for another year, but I highly doubt it. But I am excited to see what they do next. Even though this game was kind of broken all the way through, it still has its moments. So with that being said, I really think if you haven't played this game, you should give it a try. Until next time, my dudes, have fun.
Did you enjoy this video? Consider subscribing to the main channel at Mr. Nobody Elden Souls, where it's more focused on invading. Or the second channel at Nobody Elden Things, where its focus is on helping and will be the main hub for invading for dummies. Subscribe to both and I promise you will not be disappointed. Thank you for watching, my tarnished, and we will see you next time.
Like and subscribe or I'll deathblight you in your sleep. This message has been approved by the Mayor of Froggytown.